What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. It is the 25th day of July. This Saturday, $64,100 is the price. We've got about 9.5 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. Hold on. It is the weekend. And typically Saturdays for Bitcoin are the most boring days where we see the least amount of price action. So there's probably not a whole lot that's going to happen. I think, over the next 9 hours, 32 minutes, probably even over the next 24 hours, we're not going to be too far away from where we are now. I'm sticking with the call that I made, I think on the 20th, maybe even the day before, and I've maintained since that this area would be the high, that we are probably not going to go higher, if not too much higher than this level, and we will reject back down. When we reject down, however we move, depending on how this goes, the pace is kind of picking up. If the pace does pick up, maybe we're in that breakout phase now. Perhaps early August, mid-August will be the end of the bear market. That'll be it. I really do think that this next move is going to be the bear market finale. But just because we're moving down now, it doesn't mean that it's the next move. Maybe we're moving down, we move up, we move down, we move up. If we're doing something like this is not that bear market finale. The bear market finale is going to be a sudden shift down, like this was, and I'm guessing that it will be like this, right? Like this was. It's probably going to be something like that. It doesn't have to be, but that's just my assumption. That's how it typically is every single cycle that we've seen so far. Doesn't mean that it has to be this way right now. The bull market has ended with exceptional growth at the end of every single cycle, except for this last cycle. I mean, we saw growth. We saw exceptional growth from a low to a high, but it was a rounded top. We've never seen a rounded top before in Bitcoin's history, and we had that here. So typically you end with a bang in the bull market. Typically you end with a bang in the bear market. Last bull market, we didn't end with a bang. Could we end without a bang in this bear market? It's possible. But even if we do end without a bang, we're probably going to go lower than these lows, okay? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I don't believe that these are the lows. I don't believe that these will hold, and I do believe that as time goes on, probably in a very short amount of time, we will go below $58,000, below $57,000. We're probably even going to go below $55,000. As far as how much lower past that, I don't know. We could go as low. I think the lowest target that I have personally is like 43K. I accept the possibility that we could go lower than 40K, but 43K is my kind of low end expectation, maybe even a little bit below 43K. But like that 42.5, 43K area, that's the low end. My high end is just under 55K. So it's a broad range, but that's where I think the end of the bear market would be price-wise. Time-wise, since March, I've been calling for August to be the end of the bear market, but we've opened up, we've accepted, we've accepted that July could have been the end of the bear market. I think it's not now. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that July is not going to be the end of the bear market. We talked about that in June, talked about that in May and April. But it's looking like July is not going to be the end of the bear market. August, September, October, has always been kind of that most likely range, but specifically August is the month that I've been banking on. And I would be, if it's not August, I'd be surprised if it was past October that this bear market ended, but you never know. You never know. All in all, getting back to focus here, we're in this consolidation range. Whenever I say we're moving down, I'm not talking about breaking out yet. I don't think that we're in that phase yet. We're just probably going to move down. And then depending on what we do down here, even if we see lower lows, depending on what we do, then we can determine if we're going to see this breakout phase or if we're going to return back and then maybe break out, right? And again, if we break out down here, we don't get a significant bounce, that low might happen in August. If we do get a significant bounce, we take our time, maybe it happens in September or October, right? Depending on how long we consolidate in this area. That's where my head's at. I hope that's a clear understanding there for anybody who's curious to know. 1 hour time frame looking at this. I mean, just classic Saturday shenanigans, right? I mean, look here. We were moving sideways. It was boring back here. No volume at all. And when was this? You can see the date right down here. You can see the date. Saturday. Sideways. No volume at all. Right? What day is it? It's Saturday. So it's just how it happens on Saturday. lower lows, lower highs. We're kind of at the low end of this range. Maybe, you know, going into Sunday, we move up a little bit, but I would still expect that we continue to drop as time goes on. I don't believe that we're going to get above this high. A lot of people were bullish up here talking about 70K and beyond. And I thought we were going to go above 70K whenever we were back down here. And when we were at lower prices, I thought that we were going to go back to 70K. But as we got closer, as we got to like this range here, I started to think that that's not going to happen. And so many people were bullish up here. So many people were bullish on the way down and just continued to be bullish and still bullish now. It makes me very confident that we are not going to go above this high. And then again, classic bear market dynamics at play. You don't typically go above prior support. Prior support becomes resistance. This was a consolidation phase. We're finding resistance now at prior support. Right? Whenever you found resistance here, that was at prior support. Whenever you found resistance here, that was at prior support from our top consolidation range. So that's the expectation that I have in mind, is that we don't go above this level, that we are in this consolidation range. And until we break out of it to the downside, we will remain in this consolidation range. Let's see. Low to high here. Whenever you initially move down, this initial move down here, you went down to your 1618 and you actually wicked through it. Low to high here. You went down to your 2272 and you wicked through it. 1618, 2272, low to high here. We're moving down. We've actually moved down below the golden ratio. Now you've moved back up to the golden ratio. This is perfect. The perfect environment for sending it down to these extension levels and perhaps even through, right? We've gone to the golden ratio and through the golden ratio the last two times. Might we go through it this time? I think it's possible, very likely even. Perhaps we should shift our gears from, instead of 55 to 43K, 49 to 43K. Tighten that zone a little bit. And that makes sense. We saw the 2272 at the lowest, and again, you wicked below that a little bit on this last move. And we've seen a wick below the golden ratio. So something below 49K is pretty possible, pretty probable, I think. Just because you've done that before doesn't mean you have to do it here. But I do expect that this next move, regardless of how it shapes up, I don't expect that it's going to be as big as this move. It might even be the weakest move of the cycle so far, but it could be a little bit bigger than this move. We'll see. I'm expecting it to be abrupt whenever it does happen. It'll be probably very obvious, and everybody at that point will start to think that it's going to go lower. It's going to go lower. We've broken through this level. We've got lower to go. Let's see. What would make sense out of that? What are people going to be using to convince themselves that it's just got one more drop? The golden ratio. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. We'll get below the 382. We'll bounce somewhere between the 382 and the 0.5, as the theory has been for months now, since February, since the end of January actually. We'll find support somewhere in that range. We may even go just below that low there. And that'll entice people to believe that we go down to this golden ratio area where there was prior support back here, prior resistance back here, prior support back here. It seems like a very, very obvious range, does it not? Like right there. Right there. And it's in the golden ratio zone. But what people won't do, what they won't do to take the time to figure this out, is they won't look back and see how we've performed every single cycle so far. They won't look back and see, take the time and see that, oh, the first cycle we only went to the 236. I have a point. Stick with me. It seems boring, but that's why nobody's going to do it. Oh, the next cycle we went a little bit lower. We didn't bounce off the 236. We went a little bit lower. Okay. The next cycle, what did we do? We went a little bit lower. Again, this time bouncing off the 382. We went a little bit lower, didn't we? And then the next cycle, are you picking up on the trend now? Is it making sense? We've identified this over the years, guys, over the years. Since the beginning of this channel, we've gone over stuff like this. And I'm not taking the high here. I'm taking the bull market high. Okay, this is the bull market high. That was the all-time high, but it was the fake out high. It's not relative to this measurement. That's how I do it. Instead of bouncing off the 382 like we did last time, what did? We went below the 382. So what's next? Right? At first we bounced off the 236. Then we went below the 236. Then we bounced off the 382. Then we went below the 382. What's next? Logically. Doesn't have to happen. Just because it makes sense doesn't mean it has to happen. But it does make sense, doesn't it? That we'd go to the 0.5. And if we go to the 0.5, that's at 43.8K. And maybe we don't even hit the 0.5. Maybe we go somewhere in between there. But what I don't think is going to happen, what I definitely don't believe is going to happen, is that we're just going to skip the 0.5 altogether and go right to the 618. Right? 236 bounce on the first cycle, just below the 236 on the second cycle. 382 bounce on the third cycle, just below the 382 on the fourth cycle. We're on the fifth bear market now. Are we just going to forego the 0.5 and go all the way down to the golden ratio? I don't think so. I don't think so. So that's probably what's going to happen. We're going to see something that is below 50K, something that is above 40K, probably in that 45 to 43K area, maybe just below 49K or around 49K. People will be convinced that we're going to go lower. You're going to hear everybody say that we're going to go lower. Of course we're not going to find support here. What are you, crazy? We broke below this low. We're below this low. There's no way that we're going to find support there. And then we move up, right? I'll remind you that here, everybody, myself included, thought that we were going to interact with this high to find support. We're just a little bit more, and then we're gonna bounce. Here, whenever we found support here, we would go just a little bit lower to this point of resistance. We would go just below 3K. Some people were even saying down to 1K, right, all the way down to like this level here, just a little bit lower, and then we'll bounce. And we never did. That's how it always happens. It always happens that way. Back here when you found support, just a little bit lower. Just a little bit lower. We're going to go right to that shelf, just a little bit. It teases you every single time. That's what's going to happen. That's the call. That's the prediction. I meant to do more short-term stuff, but I hope you guys have an understanding of what the short-term is. Bear market will end in August. That's the call. Perhaps it ends in September or October. If I'm off, I'm going to be off by a couple months. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. I shouldn't say by a couple months. I'll be off by at the most a couple months. That's my expectation. Unless we're in a longer bear market, but we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. And then guess what? We'll get the bear market call correct, and I'll still get trolls talking smack to me. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like with TBB's going up. I still have people who have the audacity to talk smack. It's hilarious. It's actually like really funny. I don't get it, man. People see you winning. People see you making accurate calls, and they bring up something from 2 years ago or 5 years ago. And it's, if I did that, how lame would it be if I was like, and believe me, guys, it's going to go down there because I was right about Dogecoin. I bought it below 1 cent back in 2020, 5 years ago, right? So I know what I'm talking about. Or man, believe me, because the first time that I bought Bitcoin was at $250. I know what I'm talking about. That's like stuff from so long ago. No, that's dumb. No, I did not hold my Bitcoin since 250. I wish I did. I wish I did. Don't we all? I messed that up, man. I was a kid though. I was a little bit younger. I'm not going to age myself, but spent my money on vacations and partying with my friends, and just forgot about Bitcoin. Kind of, it was still there, but just didn't really think about it. The first time I used Bitcoin was to buy novelty IDs, which are legal. Novelty IDs are legal. Fake IDs are not legal. I would never buy a fake ID, no. But novelty IDs, yeah, for fun, just for like acting purposes and whatever, just for novelty's sake. Yeah, that's what I did. Anyways, hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.